From August 2020 to August 2022, I had the fantastic opportunity to be a full-time sim racer with Logitech G Altus Esport. During this time, there were many challenges to overcome and there was so much learning to do about how to make the most of your time to prepare for some of these bigger esports events. Today, I wanted to talk about my experience and what I'd do differently if I ever got the opportunity again, as I can provide a unique perspective that not many others in the industry can, as the number of sim racers who have lived in a gaming house is still extremely minimal. I'm forever grateful to have had this opportunity, even if it didn't work out for me this time. For complete disclosure, from August 2020 to June 2021, my sim racing journey was entirely funded by myself and I did not receive any income from the team. Trying to make money within this industry is still a bit of a new concept and only now can more people turn this into a job. At the time, it did feel like I'd bitten off way more than I could chew. I found myself doing several things to make ends meet, from making videos here on YouTube, doing numerous commentary gigs for many different organizations including the Virtual Le Mans, coaching sessions, creating video content for brands, working for a setup shop, and of course, streaming on Twitch. Many people still ask me to this day why I don't stream more, and a lot of this came down to my internet speed. Where I was living at the time, the internet speed was absolutely awful, and many people that weren't there at the time probably don't know that I lived almost exclusively for these months off of my mobile phone hotspot, as the internet speeds and reliability were considerably better than my home Ethernet. All my live streams you ever saw on Twitch up to June 2021 were done off my phone data. Of course, the main reason for going full-time initially was that I just qualified for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, my second ever World Championship appearance on iRacing and my first in the dirt road discipline. I wanted to give this championship everything I had, and with enough savings thanks to working a full-time job for years leading up to this and still living with my mum at the time, it really seems like the perfect timing to make this dream happen. I was drafted by American powerhouse Andretti Autosport to field one of their Volkswagen Beetles for the World Championship, and I set to work quickly on developing myself for the series. The first challenge was working out how to optimize my practice time whilst not burning myself out, and that's a topic I'll touch on later. But for now, we managed to train very well given our inexperience with all my newfound free time, and we had a fantastic debut, one that almost resulted in a win in my very first start.
They will scream to the Joker here on the final lap. Who is going to take the lead? Albert's going for the victory. Tries to shove Lamansibu out of the way.
This result gave me the confidence that I could run extremely strong in the series, and I was so ready for the challenge ahead. But little did I know that this was pretty much as good as it was ever gonna get. What followed in the following 2 years of the series was unthinkable.
3 wide as they enter the jump. And well, from bad to worse for Bo Albert, I didn't think I could say that about the Australian.
He is now officially the unluckiest driver in all of sim racing right now. If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. That is just, it really sums up his first half of the season.
The reason why I'm highlighting all of this for you is for my next point. Being full-time in sim racing is more mentally tricky than I could have ever expected. Despite trying several things over the 2 years to help combat this, from taking up meditation and mindfulness, pushing my physical exercise harder than ever, to just in general spending more and more time away from the sim and with my girlfriend, I wasn't quite able to get back into the confident mindset I had in the opening few months of the job. Now, look, I know many people are probably laughing at me right now in the comments, saying that I'm a joke for saying that playing a video game full-time was mentally tough. And look, if I step back from the screen for a second, I get it. It's hilarious even. But the only comparison I can maybe give is working an office job, spending the entire 40 hours in a week working on a spreadsheet, flat out. When you finish the 8 hours a day at your job, you don't stop thinking about it. You continue to think about the spreadsheet. Where are the areas for improvement? What are your other co-workers doing that you're maybe not doing with your spreadsheet? This is your dream job, and sure, it might just be a spreadsheet, but you want to be the very, very best. This matters to you. When it's showtime to show the boss all of your hard work and effort that you put so much work into, he just deletes everything right in front of you, says it's not good enough, and to do it all over again next week. Oh, and you're not getting paid this week. This caused me massive stress, and it didn't even have to be my own effort that cost me a paycheck. It could be someone else's lack of effort or awareness that cost me. This is where I want to warn those getting into sim racing to not make the same mistake I did, and don't allow prize money from competitions to ever be a part of your factored in income. It is not guaranteed, and always keep your other options open. Do not let them close, or do not reduce these opportunities that you have elsewhere to focus on your competition. This is perhaps a mistake I regret most about my time as a sim racer, sacrificing the fun I was having making YouTube videos, the amazing opportunities I was getting in commentary, and the fantastic community I had on Twitch that, I've got to be honest and put my hand up, I've somewhat abandoned over the years. Sure, the internet situation is out of my hands, that is for sure, but I wish I could have done these things differently or tried harder to find a solution. Another reason I say having these other activities available is essential is that you will undoubtedly feel the grind hit you very soon if you do not break up your day sufficiently. Now, for a lot of it, I was doing 8 hours a day on the sim, but when I say this, I was not even coming close to doing 8 hours of driving a day. In fact, most days I was only doing about 3 to 4 hours. Of course, the night or two before a major race, I may end up pushing up to about 6 or so hours a day, rehearsing a couple things last minute, but ultimately there is a point where just doing laps is beyond pointless and you're not learning anything from it. Every time you go out of the pit lane and head out onto the virtual racetrack, you should have a goal to understand a new part of the car or the track or just something or the setup. It needs to be meaningful running, and doing 40 hours of meaningful running each week back to back to back is a nearly impossible feat regardless of how vital muscle memory is. Going through telemetry with teammates, watching old race broadcasts and replays to see if I can spot anything the other drivers are doing, and even just creating pre and post race content for my socials all factored into those 8 hours a day. But I didn't maintain this well enough, and eventually the stress of my constant issues and poor form in the crucial races got too much. I struggled to do 8 hours a day anymore. And then 6 hours got too much. And by the time I ended at the Altus Esports Gaming House, I was struggling to put in 4 hours. I was burnt out and mentally destroyed. Sim racing is a confidence game, and you need to look after yourself. Since returning to a regular full-time job, I've noticed my enjoyment of sim racing has shot back up. I love making video content again, as you guys have probably noticed here with recent uploads on the channel. And, if I finally get good internet in my new city, maybe I'll return to streaming too. As I conclude this video, I want to reiterate my biggest lesson learnt from my time as a full-time sim racer. Do not let it become your life. You can be as passionate about sim racing as I was, and that's great, but keep your other hobbies and passions too. Don't put all your eggs into the sim racing basket because it can be a vicious game. Your results can be taken away from you through no fault of your own. And a while ago, in one of my videos about the sim racing mindset, I commented that you cannot let your results impact your enjoyment of sim racing. I think, more than anything, that line in the video was me trying to convince myself at the time. I learned so much from my previous journey, and I'm so grateful again for the opportunity I had. If I ever got the chance again, there are so many things I'll try to do differently. I'm very excited to work towards that again in the coming years, but this time I'm taking my fantastic community here on YouTube and other platforms along for the ride too. I know the video was a little more dark and downbeat compared to my others, but I felt this was an important topic to touch on, as sim racing mental health isn't actually really spoken about at all. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you do have any questions or anything related to the topic, please ask below and I'll do my best to get back to every single one of you. You're a bunch of legends. Thank you for sticking by me over the years.